Juraj Slafkovsky continues his hot streak with another 2-point night with a goal. He sets a career high in points by 2 in 6 fewer games. An amazing game from him, but tonight was a night for the big boys. Josh Anderson chips in with his 4th of the season. Struble drops a guy with some hammer fists. All of that, plus a little Habs World Junior update that you're not going to want to miss on this episode of Habs Digest. But as always, Jesse, as we're approaching 10,000 subscribers, you were expecting it down there. You weren't expecting it up here this time, but don't forget that over 50% of you watching this video, that's thousands of people every single day, are not subscribed. You haven't hit that button, but you're watching us every single day. So if you really appreciate the content, you want to see us hit 10,000 subscribers, hit the button now. We'd really appreciate it. First things first, Jesse, I want to talk a bit about the World Juniors, and Owen, Beck, and Filip Mesar in some pre-tournament play really played well. Beck with a great goal against Team Switzerland. I believe, I think he might have had 2 today. I'm not actually sure. But yeah, anyway, here's a screenshot of one of them. He looked really, really good, really mature as we expected from Owen Beck. But also Filip Mesar. This is him potting a goal for Slovakia, their 3rd of the game. I know this tournament's not quite underway yet, but like, just to see this already, it's like, we're seeing just the start. We're seeing just the start. And I was saying to you before the show, like, don't be surprised if every Habs prospect comes into this tournament and has a really, really good showing.
And that's why we're so excited for it. And they're giving us such good reason to be, as Habs fans, with so many prospects playing lead roles on so many of the key teams. And they're off to a great start, right? Even before the tournament has begun in a lot of these pre-tournament games. And what I liked so much about that goal from Owen Beck today was getting on the breakaway, showing so much poise though. Like, he knows he's there. There's a defender coming, but he is just taking his time. He's not rushing it. He does his move. Beautiful goal, right? So amazing to see. Mesar, looks to play a very important role for his team, for Slovakia as well. So getting off to a big start, it's really important to see and big for their teams.
Yeah, and like you said, Owen Beck, right? Nothing flashy. That was one of the most relaxed breakaways I think I've ever seen. He came in and it looked like there was a guy right behind him. He looked like he just didn't care. He just walked in, potted the goal like nothing. Top cheese. It was perfect. He's looked really good. Mesar, of course, right off that, I think it was a rebound. But, we know the Slovakian fans are tuning in. We know that Team Slovakia is, hey, they could have a good showing at this tournament, especially with Filip Mesar. I mean, you never know. He could lead the way for them. So just a little prospect update before we get into the game tonight. Because, guys, I mean, if you haven't already tuned into some of this stuff, you really should start. Because it's basically day one, and we're already seeing Habs prospects do some amazing stuff. So, yeah, check it out. But now it's time to get into the video. And as always, feel free to pause on the box score if you want to just take a look through. But my goodness, where else to start? Have a look through. Of course, Mitchell Stevens scored, I believe, his first goal, right? And he looked really, really good. But 2 points for Suzuki, 2 points for Slafkovsky, Caufield with another assist, Anderson with his 4th of the season, 2.9 from Savard as he gets an empty netter. David Savard goal streak, anyone? 2 in a row. But there's nowhere else to start other than Juraj Slafkovsky as he pots the goal off a rebound exactly where we wanted him, Jesse. Off a rebound, he's right there on the doorstep to put it home. That's where we saw him play his best in the preseason and where we saw him play his best earlier in this season, especially in that game against Toronto. He has looked really, really good in front of the net, and he also created a play later, making a great pass to Caufield. As Caufield shoots, rebound goes to Suzuki to put it in for the Habs' 4th goal. Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, I feel like I'm just running out of words to say at this point, but this top line is clicking on a level that I didn't think we'd see. And every single game, like 4 points in 2 games for Slav. Again, he had 10 points in 39 games last year. He's up to 12 and 36 this year. What else is there to say? This guy is every single night doing something special.
Yeah, the chemistry, especially with Suzuki and Slav, is really coming together. We saw it earlier with Slafkovsky and Caufield, them having some chemistry now, kind of being able to put it together with all 3 players. So again, playing a huge role in this team, getting this win tonight. So Juraj Slafkovsky is really turning a corner in his point production. And I think that there's really 3 big reasons why, and I think that was really shown on his goal tonight. And I think it's important to break it down in the order that it really happens. And first of all is coachability. Going to the net. This is what he's been asked to do by Martin St. Louis. This is why Juraj Slafkovsky is such a good person, not just for his team, but the culture. He listens. He's coachable. When the coaches tell him to do something, these coaches that have so much more experience, he listens, So that's important when you have that much skill and then you're coachable as well. That's going to be really big. So he's benefiting from that. He's going to the net. Now, once he's in front of the net, now he has the strength to defend off his defender, really kind of create that separation, push him away, and then also the skill to be able to finish in front of the net. So kind of those three things, namely also, this is the strength and the
Mhm.
skill, right? Which is so important, which is really what separates Juraj Slafkovsky from so many other players, right? It's so rare to see that type of combination, but that's also what makes him so dangerous.
Yeah, and I think, again, you hit the nail on the head, as we often do with Slav. It's like it's the skill and size, because he's creating offensive chances that we didn't see him create a while ago. It's something that we don't see almost any other Hab create during the course of a game. These little plays, whether they're along the boards or when he comes out of a corner and he's just looking to make the right pass. But he's also now, like, adding his size into the mix more than he ever has. He had a monstrous hit earlier in this game where he just, like, followed through, drove someone into the boards. It's not something we've really seen from him. And there was one point in this game, it's such a small play in the grand scheme of things, Jesse, but I think we both noticed it when, I forget who it was in Chicago, they were going for a hit on Slafkovsky right after he passed the puck. And no doubt, earlier this season and definitely last season, he's taken that hit, he's getting off balance, he's fallen to the ground because he's not even looking at the play, right? But this time, he's looking straight ahead, he makes the pass, but out of the corner of his eye, his peripherals improved, he sees the guy coming, he braces, and he reverse hits him. And they both kind of go into the boards a little bit, but like, Slav just braced for it, and they kind of both absorbed the impact. It's just a little small things like that shows improvement, and yeah, every single day. I mean, before we transit, we got to talk about other people, but like, playing him in front of the net, clearly it's worked 2 games in a row. Back-to-back goals on the doorstep. It's like deja vu. I feel like at this point, maybe this is the point where Slav is starting to realize, oh, it's going to be that easy, And I think it might just be that easy for him.
That's the recipe. And especially if you want to score goals, like not just in the short term, but long term, it's in front of the net. That's where it really happens, right? So I think that's good that he's getting into that early in his NHL career. He's learning where to really do it and also to have that long-standing success. And I think it's a great point you made earlier too about Josh, where his peripheral vision is improved. And isn't it true that this is specifically what he worked on in the off season? Some very advanced new age kind of trainings, but of working on his peripheral vision on the ice, right? So we're seeing a lot of that come into play. Obviously, he's worked on his cardio. You got to feel like that's improved to him having more strength during the course of the game, knocking people over and everything. So he's really worked on specific things in the off season. And obviously it takes steps and it's a progression, but we're really now seeing the fruits of his labor paying off.
Yeah, for sure. He's looked really, really good. But again, we got to talk about some other people. And I think we'll transition quickly to Josh Anderson. Of course, after having such a tough start to the year, he gets that empty netter in that one game. It's like, okay, cool. But now Anderson's like, he's rolling. Like, he is just truly rolling. I mean, this game today, what a beautiful play from his line mates there, Monahan especially. And you get Anderson on a cross-crease pass as he's streaking in over the top of Peter Mrazek. He's looked like a different player. He's driving the play. I wouldn't even say more than we're used to, because we're used to him driving the play, but now he's starting to finish. I really think that first game where he scored that like real goal was absolutely the monkey off his back, and he could have had another 2-point night tonight. We had a Jake Evans goal that was disallowed because Anderson himself was about a millimeter offside after a bouncing puck that was kind of in the air. It was such a weird call. I mean, like, you're Chicago, that would have been 2 goals in about 10 seconds for Montreal. And if you're Chicago, if you even have a hunch it might be offside, you challenge it. They did. It was offside. As much as we don't like it, it is what it is. But yeah, he played really well again tonight, and I feel like he's turning the corner. I mean, if he keeps at this pace, he's still going to finish with somewhere near 20 goals, right? And I think like that alone has given a pretty big boost to this team.
Yeah, turning the corner and then going to the net, He's looking really dangerous every time that he's out there, which is really interesting to see. And that definitely was a big point for him. But I think he's definitely benefiting from the play of Evans, who in the absence of Kirby, Dach is filling in quite valiantly as a center on that second line. Really nice tandem with also Sean Monahan on the dot again. Amazing tonight. But them being able to kind of, switch in and out depending on their strong side and things like that is a great look for our second line. And Martin St. Louis has put a lot of confidence, not just into Josh Anderson, but that whole second line, starting our games with them, knowing that he's going to get a solid effort from them basically every time they're on the ice. So, I mean, Josh Anderson playing well, and now with his point production, picking up is obviously huge for this team. And I'm glad to see, like, this is now our 4th game where we're getting our points. We now have a winning record for Cayden Primeau. I'm so happy to see him, in a game. Like, he's had some tough ones this year. So I'm happy, even though, no game's a cakewalk, but getting in there against Chicago, getting in that win and, hopefully getting a little bit more respect for this Canadian teams. I know they're really young and everything else like that. I love to see from like sports commentators, like when they're talking about the Habs, like it always seems like there needs to be some sort of veiled shade kind of thrown at the team. We can't kind of celebrate the success that this young team is having. So hopefully, this young team will keep proving people wrong.
For sure. I mean, Cayden Primeau was phenomenal. Mitchell Stevens with his first goal. Great call up he's been. But before we end the video, just a last minute note here on Jayden Struble. My goodness. He summoned the soul of spirit of Arber Xhekaj tonight. He was just getting like, Chicago players were running at him left and right, and he was just bodying them, sending them to the ground with body checks, and eventually Entwistle comes up and says, all right, fine, you want to drop the mitts? Struble says, sure, and just starts like pounded him in the face. It was like borderline hammer fists. And then the Habs got a power play because I think Entwistle got an instigator or something. I'm not sure. But Struble, Jesse, I know we wanted some physicality with Xhekaj out. This guy, we knew he was physical. First time I think he's dropped the gloves. It was just that was such a fun sequence to watch him. He's clearly not someone to mess with.
Yeah, there's very few times after a fight where I'm concerned for the health of the opposition's player. But after Entwistle, after seeing a couple of those hammer fists there, I was worried about that guy. But again, and that's a great point, Josh. Like this fight kind of helped change the momentum of this game a little bit. Like Struble played a huge part, first saving a goal in the first period after an unreal save from Kaiden Primeau. And then, two solid hits as we're starting to kind of expect from Jayden Struble, and then kind of that, and then that fight there afterwards, just showing right away this guy is not somebody to mess with. He can definitely fight.
100%. It was a fun game. So many good things. I mean, could have been a 2-point night for Evans and Anderson. Unfortunately, wasn't. 2-point night for Slav. 2-point night for Suzuki. Caufield continues his minor point streak here. Savard continues his goal streak. Where is this? I mean, that empty net goal was about as David Savard as it gets. Just a chip over everyone that just had enough juice to make it. What a fun game. Awesome game heading into this break. Like, oh man, like, Habs have a winning record, basically. They're over 500 for the season for point percentage. Technically more losses than wins, but yeah, for the 1 point for the OT loss, whatever. Awesome game. You beat Connor Bedard. Juraj Slafkovsky showed who the true #1 overall pick was tonight. And yeah, all we can do is hope that continues for the next stretch of games. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Help be part of the first 10,000 subscribers. That's crazy that I'm saying that, but we really appreciate every single one of you. I'm Josh Gosse for my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.